fucking might as well make a start. There we go.
Let's do
Hit record. It talks to us.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, and hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com and with that metalstation.com out of the US. And today I'm getting to have a chat with Mike, drummer for Face the Fire. His recent single, Remember What You're Made Of, came out June 14th. Killer track, man. Loaded full of hooks. Really, really cool track. Congratulations on the latest single, man.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
It must be good to finally be getting back to releasing some music. I dare say you guys have been sitting on this for a little bit, like a lot of other bands waiting for a time to release it. Was that the case?
Yeah, we did. So we came out with Drowning last April.
Year? Yep.
Like last March or April, it was last March. It was before, it was either right as COVID started. I can't really remember.
Yeah, I think it was right before. I think it was about March, April kind of
March
roundabout.
Like so before everything got all crazy. And then we were going to release Remember What You're Made Of. We were going to release that last June. It was all ready to go. We had shows lined up. We had a new merch line ready to go. We had a whole bunch of new stuff coming. And then all of a sudden it stopped. It was like the shows that, we had some, we had financial stuff, popping up right away. And, that was going to help us out. And then everything got cut off. So here we are a year later, and Remember What You're Made Of finally made it. Took a year, but
yeah, it's a killer track, man. Can you tell me a little bit about kind of what that track means for you?
For me personally, man, it's like kind of perseverance, man. A little bit like kind of like that's how it kind of says itself. Remember what you're made of. Like, when times got tough, and it has nothing to do with COVID. There's a few people that thought like, oh, this song was written during COVID. Believe it or not, it was way before COVID when our lives were still shit, like, at least mine. But, so yeah, just perseverance, man, mainly for me.
I got that as well. I got that listening to the track, perseverance, remembering what you're made of. We go through these tough days and we're all going to have tough times. And I think COVID is kind of, I don't know, what are they make those tough times seem more fucking as well. We're noticing those tough times a little more as well, and it is making a little more impactful. But I definitely got that from that track, Remember What You're Made From. I've had a tough 6 months, and listening to that track kind of, that kind of really hit home for me as well. So even though it wasn't about COVID, it would have been good to finally release this track and for people to kind of connect to it finally, even though he was sitting on it for so long.
No, it was look, for me personally, I was just so irritated. I was done, man. I'm like, come on. Like when we didn't release it, and then obviously not seeing my bandmates for those few months or whatever, not knowing what we were gonna do. We're like, well, we're just gonna ride it out. And then the ride kept going. It didn't stop. So we're like, okay, what are we really doing? Because we can't play shows. Nobody could play shows. People tried playing shows. And for us personally, we just couldn't do it. We couldn't do it until, we try to be leaders around here, but we kind of followed on this one. It was like, let's wait till everyone else starts playing shows, like our peers in the local scene and stuff like that. And then these bigger bands, like a Seven Dust, Chevelle's out there playing now. Non-Point's going to start kicking it up. There's just so many bands right now that are starting to, the wheels are going again, and we're here for it.
They are going again, and it's kind of one of those things with bands. You got to kind of wait to play live, because these days it's people are just expecting you to drop your music for free up on all those streaming platforms. So playing live is a big part of, for the band to be able to buy, pay for studio time and buy albums. And these are things that bands have to do when it comes to releasing albums. People just think you get up there, you play your music, bang, there you go. There's nothing else behind it, but there's a lot more behind the bands and the industry than people realize. And for people just to go, let's just chuck their music up for free and not pay for anything, kind of does my head in, especially at the moment with everyone going through this tough trot with not being able to play live.
Yeah, man, it's been luckily we don't get too many people that are like, oh, what's freebies here and there. Spotify, obviously, Apple Music, we'll take it. We'll take those numbers and we'll take that kind of support either way. I'll take anything at this point, free or not free. But for the most part, man, we don't have many, we don't really have anybody asking like for free handouts of anything, other than, with Spotify, that wasn't really, we just kind of threw it up there. It's like, enjoy it. if you want to support us more, you know, it's like, come to a show and come see us. We have merch there.
That's a good thing about shows, isn't it? When people come along and buy merch and they get up and they have that
Yeah.
interaction with the band as well. Because it's, you know, I know most times it's usually guys like yourself that are playing in the band usually go up, play, then they go sit behind the merch stand for a while and have that interaction with their fans as well. And that's what kind of clicks with a lot of these fans. They go buy the merch, say good day to you up on the behind the merch stand, and then they go away and tell 20 of their mates, go fucking check these guys out. They're awesome.
That's how it goes. One person says something to somebody else, and then some other guy's buying a beer, and he's like, "What the hell is this band?" And we're like, "Well, come check out the merch," you know. And someone vouches for us in line, and like, "Oh, these guys are kicked ass," you know. There's people that have come in late to shows and missed us, and then we have somebody else that saw the show that'll vouch for us. That's happened before too, which I think is really cool. And then that guy goes ahead and checks out our music. So it's all love, man. It's music works in really mysterious ways sometimes.
It does. You make some really cool connections and mysterious ways. You're talking about Seven Dust. I noticed you had Morgan there, as well as Jose, who from 3 Years Hollow help out with a bit of production. And he's in another clip as well, another track of yours, which was really cool too, Jose.
Yeah. That whole experience was so cool. I wish my singer was on here, but obviously he's not here yet. But so Brandon knew Jose, my singer Brandon knew Jose since they were like kids. And then long story short, basically, Jose, either Brandon showed Jose a song or Jose found it. I don't remember the whole deal with that, but yeah. So we started working with Jose. We did a song called Remedy back in 2016 maybe, or winter of 15. Yep. I'm trying to remember here, but so yeah, we did that with Jose, and then it was like, all right, boys, I guess we're gonna do a record, and then we just started doing this record, and then Jose and Morgan are like teaming up, I guess, and Jose gave Brandon a call and said, "Hey, would you like to work with Morgan?" And Brandon knows that Morgan Rose is, you know, as a drummer, and I mean now as a person, you know, like an idol and somebody I've looked up to for a real long time. So there's all that as well with Morgan. Give me 1 second. Let me kick the cat off the table here. I'm sorry. Get off the table.
Don't be sorry. I'm a cat roaming around here as well.
I'm looking at he's knocking over the thing I have my phone on, and I'm like, you're not doing it today. Anyway, I'm sorry. So with Morgan stepped in, and we did Weight of the World was one of them, and Skeleton Key was another one that was on our record, Built to Burn. And at that time, dude, the record we had was already 12 songs deep. More than enough. To me, I was like, man, we don't do more. And then all of a sudden Morgan comes along, and I'm like, you know what? The album needs 2 more songs. And then we did Taken Enough with Morgan, and we did Drowning with Morgan and Jose as well. So
that would have been pretty cool working with Morgan as well, being a drummer yourself, like, and you know, someone you looked up to. And speaking of that, man, while we're on it, man, how did you originally get into drums? So my dad is a musician. He's been doing it for about, I'm not gonna say his age or nothing, but my dad's a musician. So when he owns a music shop called the Music Loft. Anybody out there need music lessons, check it out. But anyway, small plug there. But so yeah, he basically put me through the ringer. He's like, you're gonna try like every instrument, you know. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I started with piano, sucked, I hated it. Then I went to I think I went to guitar, and I got little hands, I couldn't do it. I tried bass, couldn't do that either. And then drums were the last thing on the list. And mind you, this is only like 2nd or 3rd grade that I'm trying all these things. And I got a drum set, and my dad put the snare on the stand, and I guess he told me to tighten it, and I didn't. So literally 10 minutes into playing, and this is like 2nd or 3rd grade, mind you, the snare falls on my foot, and I start crying. I run up the stairs. I'm like, I don't want to play drums ever again. Musically, I didn't care, you know. I just listened to music, and that was it. And then about 6th or 7th grade, I started tapping my hands, and you know, I had pencils, so I'm doing that. And I'm like, I don't know if this is like ADHD or I can't sit still or what this is. But I told my dad I want to try drums again, and I just stuck with it this time. Yeah, and how did that lead into where you are today with Face the Fire? Tell us how you joined up with these guys.
Oh God, man, that was a weird story. Right when I was about to I was ready to give up on music. I was in bands with friends, you know, in like 2013 or 14. or 2012 to like 2014, I was with friends doing stuff. And then I realized, you know, this is cool, but this isn't going to go anywhere. It's just not. And so I gave up on drums completely. I was like this close from putting my drums up on like eBay or something. I was ready to ship it away. Then I got bored one night and went on I think it's called Chicago Musicians Network or something like that on Facebook. And I put something about being a drummer, and I got a guy, Brandon, that messaged me saying, hey, we would like to jam with you. And the thing was, I didn't want to bring my drums anywhere. I'm like, man, if this guy doesn't have a drum set at his house, I'm not going. It's cold. At the time, it was December. It's icy. It's cold. I'm not logging or hauling all my shit into this guy's house that I don't even know. So he's like, and we got a drum set here. And I'm like, whatever. So he sends me a picture and I'm like, all right, it's legit. I guess I'm going to go.
I have to go now.
And kind of started that way. But it was funny because on my Facebook they give me shit about this still to this day. My Facebook profile picture was me in a Cookie Monster onesie. I'm talking like a pajama onesie. And that was my profile picture. And as a joke, whatever it was back then. And that's the first picture they see is me in a Cookie Monster onesie before. You know what I mean? So they're like, let's get a load of this guy real quick. And luckily, they kept me around.
Yeah, it didn't scare him off at all.
I think it was going to. And I don't know who let me still come out there, but they were definitely spooked out a little bit by that. I don't think they like that too much, but they give me shit for it now. They love it. Now it's a good story. Back then it was like, this is creepy as hell.
Yeah, and fast forward to now, it's like 2021. It's like rolling it, man. That's the way.
Yeah.
With this single, dude, is this something? Because it's all right if you can't answer it, but had you guys been working on an album at this time? Was this part of an album or an EP or something you're working towards releasing? Because I've spoken to a band from Sydney yesterday called Cinescope, and they'd done their EP back in the end of 2019, getting ready to drop it 2020, and then COVID kind of hit, and then they had to fucking reevaluate where they were going to go with it all, and they've sat on it till like this whole time, and they're releasing it a little later in July. Was that kind of the same for you guys at Face the Fire?
It wasn't actually. We, if memory serves me right, we worked with Morgan and Jose, and we did Drowning.
Yep.
And it was like, I'm not saying working with Morgan and Jose ran its course at all. I'm not trying to say that, but it was more so we were like, let's try somebody new. Let's see what happens with somebody else when we don't have Morgan and Jose. Let's just see what happens. And we worked with Jordan Pop on Remember What You're Made Of. He was in a band called 7 Day Sonnet for a little bit. Yeah. He worked with a band called Janice. He did their record. And then he was in a band called Sky Machine. They were around for a little bit of time. Excuse me. But anyway, so we just stuck with Jordan, and it came out, the song was already written before we went with Jordan. It was already done. It wasn't much of a co-write, you know what I mean? Like Jordan helped, don't get me wrong, Jordan helped, and he wrote some of the stuff, but it was more so the fact of the song was pretty well put together when we got a hold of Jordan, and he killed it.
Yeah, it's got a great sound. It's got a great sound. Tell us a little bit about the film clip, the whole making of that. What was that like, and when did you do it? How was the whole process?
You're talking the music video, right?
Yeah, man.
Music video, same shit. So that was around when was that? That was February. We went and did that.
Okay.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, I think it was supposed to be done in December or January. A big snowstorm hit Chicago right before we were going to do the video, and I'm in the process at that point moving to Wisconsin, from Chicago to Illinois to Wisconsin. So I was trying to get a date where we could do this thing. And I'm like, guys, I have to start packing. Like, this is going to be tough getting this video done. I was stressed out so bad. So we had to cancel the date we had. So we had to wait, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks after the fact to do it. And it was still cold. There was still snow on the ground, So every day we're like watching the weather, messaging in a group with our director, Philip Good, man. He did a great job, by the way. And I'm messaging every day. We're like, man, hopefully another snowstorm doesn't hit, another 2 feet or something. And we joked, and I'm like, guys, if this happens, I don't know when I'm going to be back for this video, because I'm in the process of moving. But then fast forward to the day we actually did it. It was awesome. It was a good time. We had a girl, I can't remember her name. I didn't know her personally. The actress in the film, she killed that, man. She did such a good job acting. I was like, and she left, and all I saw was little clips, from Phil showing us the video before we actually shot the actual music, you know what I mean? The performance shots. And I'm like, man, it looks pretty cool. And we'll see what happens, And like I said, it came out
really well.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, it did. I agree with you. I can agree with that. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, and the sound on it fits really well, and the whole the acting side of it all just fits really well with that track too.
Yeah, and I think too, like the fact I like the message we were kind of sending, because I'm not saying it's getting popular, but there's more coming out of, in my own opinion, girls coming out and saying, hey, this person did this, or this guy, there's a lot more shit going on in the world these days with, if whether it's a guy or girl doing something to their spouse, you know what I mean? Yeah. It gets out. So, the message there I thought was pretty cool. I thought it shed some light on stuff that's happening a lot,
Yeah, no, I understand. I've got 3 daughters as well. I want to leave this scene better than when I came into it. I think the metal scene is a lot better than some of the other music scenes out there, and we're right on this. You know what I mean? Like picking up on these rights and gender issues as well, which is really good. And bands are speaking up a little more, which is great to bloody see. For me, I want to leave this scene, as I just said, in a better place than when I come into it. So if my daughters want to go along to some mosh pit and hang out and be in the metal crew, they can, and there's not going to be any issue at all.
And that's crazy to think like that we have to think like that, what I mean? It's like, it irritates me because whether it's, I'm not saying girls are lying, obviously, whether it happens or not, whatever that case is, but either way these stories are coming out, and it really sucks. Luckily I don't have, I have a few friends out in the music industry and stuff like that, and a few bands, and the people that I know, they're not like that. They would never do something like that. You know what I mean? But then you see some of the names that I don't know, and you're like, holy shit, I never thought that person would do it either. You know what I mean? So it's weird. It's weird times right now everywhere, man. And we're not a political band by any means. We knows clean. We don't get involved with that kind of stuff. So not too.
Yeah, that's it. How's the live scene coming forward? You said there's been some big live shows there with Seven Dust and that, but how's the local scene going as well? Not so much the bigger bands, but you know what I mean, like the smaller shows and the underground scene and those bands that are just under that level. How is the industry going coming forward with that?
So it looks pretty cool. I've seen a bunch of friends of ours, in these local bands, either in Chicago or wherever, there's some people coming out to those shows, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. And, we're right behind them, man. We're coming, man. We want to play. We're getting there. We're getting to a point, August 7th is our first show back out in Chicago.
Awesome.
And I'm chomping at the bit, man. I'm just like, I'm one of those dudes. I just want to punch through the wall and just get there. You know what I mean?
Are you able to say where you're playing yet, or?
Yeah, no, August 7th will be the first one.
Awesome. Keep your eyes peeled to Face the Fire on the socials, and you find out when that's going to happen too. Where?
Oh yeah,
cool,
dude. Chicago, August 7th is the first show back, and I'm like, we did another interview yesterday, and we were talking to him, and he said, we were talking like how out of shape I was telling him I practice out here. I have an apartment now in Wisconsin. You can't bring a whole drum set, you know what I mean? You'll disrupt the neighbors. But I have an electronic kit, and 3 songs into it, I'm like, I'm starting to rehearse for our shows. And 3 songs into it, I'm like, man, I need a medic. Freaking me out, because I'm like, and that's not even me going full go. It's me just sitting there playing. Just wait until I add the stupid stuff and the headbang and then throwing sticks and throwing out my back. Just wait till that happens, So we play a show. I already told the guys yesterday, I said, I'm gonna need some water, a cold towel, a medic, and then a few things on the list. I'm gonna need a fan, obviously an industrial fan, big one, big fan. So
big fuck off fan.
There's things on my list that I need so far, but I have a month and a half to. Well, no, not even. We're already in July. Wait a minute. I have like a month to. So God help us.
A month to prep. You'll be right, Mike. Man, this has been an absolute pleasure. Everyone, August 7th, keep an eye out for that show. Everyone, grab the latest single. Remember what you're made of. Put it in the stereo. Turn up really fucking loud. Mike, Face the Fire, this has been an absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you very much. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in, my friend?
Man, we just want, for one, we want to thank you, man, for doing this interview. This is really cool, man. Anybody that's let us do these interviews and has been following and writing these reviews on our song and everything like that, we thank everyone that's out there doing it, man. That's so cool that there's that kind of support right now. And then also the people that are actually checking the song out, you know, our numbers are climbing. I'm not saying they're astronomical, but they are steadily climbing, man. And we couldn't do it. We're not alone. You know, we can't do this alone, man. We need the people. So August 7th cannot come here soon enough. And I'm going to hug the shit out of every single person. And we're so stoked, man, to be doing this right now. So
awesome. Thank you very much, Mike. You have a lovely evening, my brother.
Follow me. We'll talk after.
Hey, legends, how the bloody hell are you going? If you like that interview and you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. Keeps me doing what I'm doing and make you a bloody legend. Ripper. Be right, mate.